Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the Wild Wild West in space. If you thought the space western in Star Wars was a little too subtle, have we got the show for you. Welcome to our little corner of the verse where we're here to talk about the little series that could. Firefly captured the collective hearts and imaginations of an entire generation and was heartbreakingly gone too soon. Does the first episode of this beloved show set the tone for the series that follows? Or did it have to kidnap its unwitting fans and store them in the cargo hold of Serenity? Get ready to find out! Oh, well, howdy there, partner.
Shoot me.
What, are you not vibing with my charming little accent I got going on over here?
It sure is a nice accent. No, we're not doing that. No.
That was so Australian.
It was not. That was just terrible. I am very excited for this episode, Maya. So excited that I'm going to put a cough drop in my mouth right now.
Welcome back, feral listeners. Today we're doing it, guys. The little show that could, as you heard in the intro, we are talking about Firefly, the crazy, kooky space western series that had maybe a little bit more edge and darkness than what people were initially expecting.
Dear friends, dear listener, because I believe there's probably only one, and they're probably in an alternate universe, and this is the only station they can get.
So they're in hell.
They're in hell. I'm sorry. Anyway, really remember the name of our show is Effing It Up stands for feral something. Really just stress the feral for this episode, I think.
Yeah. Feral, feminine, film fanatics.
Film fanatics. Yeah. And the fanatical part, I think.
Yeah, any of those words in any order.
Yeah.
Describes this episode perfectly.
Yes. Would you like to talk about the plot, Maya?
I would like to talk about the plot.
Yeah.
Should I start by saying what I like about the show?
Yeah, why don't you do that? That sounds like a good idea.
The plot really is sort of... I'll compare it to Doctor Who in a lot of ways. There's sort of several overarching themes, but there's a lot of different contained episodes. But specifically, we're talking about the pilot. So the pilot of this show sets up these two war buddies who have ended up really piloting this ship together. The sergeant is now the captain of the ship, and he has this mismatched, mischievous little crew just getting into some space shenanigans.
Oh, man. I love a good, eclectic sci-fi space crew.
Everything I talk about, in this beginning part, really, I have to give credit for how charming, the environment of the show is.
Yeah.
I realized that was a really long pause between my words.
I'm asleep over here, so take as long of a pause as you need. I actually thought they set up a lot of stuff. If we're looking at this as a pilot, which we're supposed to be.
Not the whole show where everything else that one.
Yeah. They do set up the idea of the Reavers and how scary they are, but we never see them, which is cool.
Yeah. I ain't going nowhere near Reaver territory.
Yeah, but they do. You might not have gotten this far in the episode.
Shut up! You are so mean to me.
But they do run from the Reavers, and they do manage to put a good amount of tension into this close scrape with the Reavers
that you never even see.
That you never even see, which I thought was pretty cool. So they set up the idea of the Reavers being out there. They set up the idea of this war that was fought and lost.
Yes.
And they set up this idea of the kind of the pasts of the various characters are hinted at, especially River has obviously a lot of it's not just character establishment. You can tell that they're going to get into the world and the developing plot through her story.
I really think that the world building is
it's good.
Really good.
It's really good. And one thing that I thought was interesting the first time I watched this series however long ago was they set up Jane's duplicity, like, kind of like his duality as a character. Like,
Yeah.
you don't really trust him.
Not at all.
Well, not at all. No one trusts. Mal doesn't trust him.
He's such a little piece of garbage.
He's a little piece of garbage, and you are just kind of waiting for that to be delivered on. And they do, not that we're talking about the
But
rest of the show, but they set
yes.
it up, and they do pay it off down the line, which is,
Yeah.
they do deliver on that promise, which I think is, anyway.
Yeah. I do really feel like everything they set up in this first episode, they, at least right up until the of the show, they really followed through with it. Like, they followed through with the vision. So let's talk about characters.
Yeah. They're, like, not good people. Any of them.
Kaylee.
You're right. I did write
Kaylee.
Wash and maybe Kaylee.
Kaylee is an angel, and I would die for her. This little sweetheart.
She's delightful.
Absolute delight. Inara?
Oh my gosh, she's kind of awful. I sort of hate her.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you were saying you like her.
Yeah.
No, I don't like her.
Well, I don't remember how the rest of the show goes, but I'm saying from, like...
Yeah, she's okay in the first episode.
Yeah, in the first episode...
What's the point of view? I mean, I know what the point of view is, but, like...
Yeah. I think it's just, like, I have a soft spot for Marina.
Yeah.
The actor who plays her.
The actress seems pretty cool.
Yeah, like, especially in Deadpool. Like, she's clearly just got...
Oh, she's in Deadpool.
She's in Deadpool.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Good for her. I was gonna say, were they gonna ever, like, make a reboot or anything of Firefly? Like a reunion type thing?
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know, I'm just curious.
Scared. Yeah. I'm just scared.
You know what, they're rebooting everything right now. It's only a matter of time, to be honest.
Maybe we'll just do can we do a separate, like, whole rant podcast in the middle of all of our normal pilot season?
I think so, yeah.
And just talk about reboots?
Oh my gosh, maybe that should just be a season. We should just do, like, reboots. Since we're doing a theme for each season. Oh my word.
Hang on, let me write that down.
Yeah, go ahead.
Everybody just hang on.
Hold on, guys.
Hold on.
You're fine.
Like,
Color
stop.
a picture.
Calm down, alright?
Twiddle your thumbs. Color a picture.
All two of you who are listening from hell.
You might not have any pencil crayons in hell, but if you do, they're definitely Rose Art brand.
They have like those coloring books, but they're like the really cheap ones that like churches hand out.
Yeah, they have Rose Art pencil colors, but no pencil sharpeners. Yeah. Okay. Back to characters.
I like Zoe. I think
yeah, she's cool.
I really think she could.
She's not very dimensional.
Yeah, but
the actress brings a lot to the role, and I'm like, dang.
Oh my gosh,
like girl. I don't know.
Awesome.
Why she kind of, as like, the kids say.
Why she kind of, like, girl, those pants, though.
Hey, girl.
Not to sound like the writers of this show, but...
Not to jump on the objectification bandwagon, but, like...
It's almost like the train is just going by, and it's just telling everybody to jump on when you're watching the show. Anyway, let me talk about Jane. Jane, whatever.
Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah,
Jane. No, Jane's fun. I mean, he's terrible, but he's fun.
He's fun. It would have been nice. I don't know. I'm comparing it to I've been watching The Bear on Hulu.
Oh my word! I thought it was so boring.
I loved it. This is where Lorelle and I disagree. But there's a character that's very similar to Jane in like the character Richie, like the really loudmouth cousin, like just angry all the time because he has all these issues. But then like you watch him go through this beautiful arc as a character, and it's great. And you're like, I
love some good character development.
Like to hate someone, like kind of similar to Ted Lasso, the one character Jamie Tart. Like you go from absolutely hating him to like loving this character. I think that would have been a fun thing to do with Jane instead of having him be like...
I feel like they kind of do, though, because isn't there an episode where he, like, betrays them and then, like, Mal's literally about to kill him? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so, but, like, I never I remember... I have, like, this muscle memory of watching the show and just being like, I think I'm supposed to like Jane at some point. Like, he's got the hat, and everybody wears the hat. And, like, this is a thing in the fan base. And I'm like... But I still hate this man.
I feel like maybe I watched Chuck before I watched Firefly, so I liked Jane automatically because I liked his character in Chuck.
Yeah.
Now, I do think that his character development maybe isn't... Well, that's not true. Don't quote me on that. I think that Jane's character development maybe fits the world that he's in. It's pretty negligible, but it
Yeah.
does suit the world of the show. So yeah, he's not great, but no one's great. They're literally
no
criminals.
one's great. Shepard, love him.
He's okay. I could take him or leave him.
I remember watching the show and being like, wait a minute, like, it's a Christian character that's not
Okay, but
they
never said Christian, though.
It was
he's
just
religious,
like, it was the implied
unquote.
Religious character, but
yeah,
it's the same.
Obviously it's a stand-in for Christianity, but
yes.
they never actually say it could be, like, the god of, like, Crystal Mountain, for all we know. You know?
Would you just let me...
Sorry.
Would you just let me...
Finish your thought.
Lorelle, I am trying really hard to be positive and talk about what I like.
Okay, yeah.
Before I unleash
Yeah.
all my rage.
Go ahead.
I like Shepard. I don't mind the bland doctor. I like his glasses in the opening episode.
That's so funny because, like, I remember the first time I watched the show, the doctor was my favorite character. Well, second favorite for obvious.
Yeah.
First place goes to Wash, but we can talk about him later.
Yeah.
And you go my Alan Tudyk, like, love rant in a bit. But,
yeah.
But the doctor was my second favorite character, and then when I rewatched the show, a few episodes recently, I was like, he's so icky. Like, he gives me bad vibes. Like, I don't know.
I didn't get bad vibes. I was just like, you're kind of boring. And
not even boring. Like,
you're touching your sister really weirdly. Really weird vibes with the sister.
Me, like, there's some, not even just that, but just, like, in general.
Just
like,
in general, like, no. And then River.
She's River. She's kind of cool.
Yeah. No complaints about River. She has not done anything wrong.
Mouse. Oh, am I getting ahead of you? I'm sorry.
Malcolm Reynolds. It's funny. It's funny that they call him Mal so much. Mal in Spanish meaning bad.
Well, yeah, anyway.
Malicious, maleficent. I hate this man.
Oh, no.
And I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, but he's like, he's rough and rugged. He's the Han Solo type. He's Nathan Fillion, and he's handsome. Watching this again, I kept going, What did you just say? What did you just say to her?
I know.
Kaylee's just having a sweet little moment. And then he goes, yeah, sometimes you want to duct tape her mouth shut and lock her in the cargo hold. I was like,
oh my gosh.
I'm sorry, did you just say that to the best character in this show? You piece of milquetoast human garbage?
He refers to his quote-unquote love interest as a whore. Like, that's
what
he just calls her.
Can we talk about that scene? Like, straight up, they're, like, joking around, like, this is our ambassador, and, like, the shepherd's like, oh, like, I didn't know, like, there was, like we had such a high-ranking, like, government official on here. Like, just be nice. And then, like, he's like, laughing derisively. And she's like, I'm actually a companion. He's like, she's a whore.
Oh, my God.
And I was like...
Yeah, and the entire, show and the entire pilot is, like, trying to sell you on this idea of there being sexual tension between the two of them.
Yeah.
Like,
but it's just that he completely disrespects her.
Yeah, no. He not only does he disrespect her, he literally, like, derides,
acts
like,
derogatorily towards her,
reviles her.
Yeah.
He's so gross, and he's supposed to be the hero. That makes it worse.
It's horrible.
Because if he was, like, a bad guy in the show, you'd be like, oh yeah, of course he treats his women that way. He's the bad guy.
Yeah. But no, he's the hero.
Literally the hero. He's the guy at the front of the, DVD cover. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Also, the first line where he talks about Inara, like, they're alluding to it, and he says offhandedly, well, someone around here has to make an honest living.
Yeah.
And it was like, imagine if they had gone the route of him being serious about that.
Uh-huh.
It's like, yeah, because she's the only one who's doing something legal. She is the only one out of them making an honest living. Like, if he had just meant that genuinely...
Here's a crazy idea. I don't know, like, call me, like, total...
Oh, I'm so ready for it.
Over here, but, like, maybe you didn't have to make...
Her a prostitute
in the first place. Like, did you really need that?
Yeah.
Is that adding to the world? Like, is that, in your opinion, are the only roles of women to be caretakers... Or sex givers, like, or to just look sexy?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe I'm just crazy, but
And then, like...
Maybe I'm just a crazy woman with a tiny brain.
Yeah, you're a crazy woman with a tiny brain, but you can't even read, huh? Oh, sorry, I was briefly possessed by the spirit of... Joss Whedon? My hair! It's fleeing from my head! Oh! The ginger! It's growing out of my face!
That's just the rage.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I'll come back to that in a minute. Whew. Get out of here. We're not going to talk about you yet.
We'll have the Joss Whedon rant later.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
That's in category number 4.
Yeah, oh sweet, that's under other, yeah.
Yeah.
Just to wrap up characters, I just want to say, I mean, like you said, Kaylee is like the most pure, great character. She's great, I like her.
Yeah.
I don't love her, but I do like her. Jane's kind of fun. I don't hate Zoe. Everyone else I'm meh about, except for Mal, who literally sucks. Like, he should
I want to
die.
beat him with a stick.
I want to shoot him and then push him into, like, a wind turbine. But, like...
Yeah.
But...
And I love Nathan Fillion.
The reason I watched the show in the first place...
Yes.
Wash. Like, Alan Tudyk, incredible delivery, incredible performance. This little bit with the dinosaurs sold me.
Curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal.
Oh, I think we should call it your grave. Oh, curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal.
I heard that quote long before I ever watched the show.
So good. And then when I watched Dollhouse, another show that would fill you with fury. So don't watch it.
Okay. You're good to know.
Alan Tudyk gave me like whiplash, but he's an incredible actor, so charismatic. I absolutely love him so much.
He's never done anything wrong in his life, and we will die on this hill. No.
Okay. Sorry.
I should say, real quickly, before we continue on this, I have nothing but the utmost respect for the cast and crew on this show. The cast all give incredible performances with what they were given. The crew worked so hard. I'm going to talk about, we're moving into atmosphere now. So, like, whatever. I guess 25 for characters, whatever. Who cares?
I gave characters 12.5 because I thought they could be more dimensional. But we definitely want to see more from them.
You know what? I also give 12.5 for characters.
That's right. Because I know what I'm talking about.
Let's talk about the atmosphere and the setting.
Oh, yeah,
Just checking my notes real quick. I made fun of it in the intro, but I do think the overt sci-fi western combination is really fun. Mm-hmm. It is really unique. Like,
yes.
Apart from like the one episode of Doctor Who where Matt Smith is wearing a Stetson, like this.
Okay, that was not a sci-fi one.
I know.
And I don't care. Doctor Who is amazing.
But no, I do think the world is genuinely fun and creative and interesting. I think that the props, the practical effects, the set building, the costumes, like, it holds up in a way that other shows maybe don't. And it gives it a lot of charm and character, even though it is older, and even though some of the effects don't hold up as great, like the amount of effort that was put into making the show.
I don't even know which effects you mean don't hold up great, because it's all practical effects.
It's all
except for when they show the ship, I guess.
That's the main thing. Like, just some of those don't hold up great, but when everything else is practical, yes.
Plus, like, even the concept of the ship is really cool. Like, they call it a Firefly ship because it lights up. This little bum lights up yellow. It's really cute.
Yeah.
And it's adorable. This is a minor thing. I just want to give props to them for getting this right. This just makes my little sci-fi loving heart just so happy that whenever they show, like, explosions and things in space, they don't make any sound, which I think is so cool. Like, it's just a nice touch.
Yeah.
It just makes you feel, like, the vastness, the emptiness, like, the void of space, like, existing in space. Like, yeah, it's, like, kind of like, it melds so well with that Western because you're, like, in a wilderness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just great. It's cool.
I wish you had written this show.
No. I could have written a less sexist show, but not a better show.
But it would have been a better show.
It would have had less teenage nudity, for sure. That's one thing I bring to the table. But, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, like, I'm so over this, like, modern, and I say modern, but it's been this way for a while, but this, like, white, sleek, clean version of sci-fi. It's so boring. Like,
it is very boring.
It's so boring. Like, give me tactile sets. Give me, like, grit. Give me, like, cluttered, locations. Give me, like, the
something
bridge.
fun.
Something fun. Give
something
me flashing lights
fun.
and, like, rust and, like, give me that. Yeah, you just want the sets in Firefly, like, even from the interior of the spaceship to, like, the different worlds that they visit. You just want to, like, reach out and touch them. You just want to, like, interact with them.
Yeah.
They're so tactile, and there's so much going on, and every little piece, like, adds to the world. It's just like, this feels like a world that's lived in.
Yes.
It's just so great. I love it so much. And they've got, like, kind of this intersection of, like, Chinese culture with the Western atmosphere, and, like, then, of course, the science fiction aspect of it, which is really, I don't know, it's just great. I love it.
There's nothing else. There's nothing else like it.
Everyone loves Firefly for the atmosphere, I think.
Yeah.
Like, they might think it's because of the characters, and the characters are fun. Like, the actors do bring a lot to the roles and all that, but we love Firefly for the atmosphere.
Yep.
That's where the draw is.
It's for the vibes.
It's purely for the vibes. Like, and I do love, like, I love space opera. It is my favorite genre of sci-fi.
I do know this about you.
Yeah. Like, any space opera, I'm gonna watch it. But Firefly, definitely with the atmosphere, stands out. Like, excellent work.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was just, like, my little atmosphere.
I've never seen so much light in your eyes. It was beautiful.
Thank you.
I also gotta say that I think the music scoring is beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. It is really beautiful. And not to go back to, like, something I already said, but like,
please say it again.
I will say it again. Even when they, like, cut to the outside of the ship, they cut to silence. Mm-hmm. And just, like, the absence of the music adds more to, like, when the music is on. Mm-hmm. The music is very, like, prairie-esque.
Yep.
Feels very, like, oh, you could have people in hoop skirts, dancing around in a field right now. But then, like, when they cut to the exterior of the ship, it's just, like, silent.
Yep.
And you can see, like, things moving, but it's silent. It's just so good. Mm-hmm. And it feels like a wilderness. I freaking love it.
Now that your joy has been so complete and you voiced it,
I'm the yin. Now Maya's here to be the yang.
What point number would you give Atmosphere?
I give Atmosphere 25 for sure.
I would also give it a solid 25.
Like, even if there was more to give it, I would give it more.
Yeah. But now that brings us to category 4, and this is where we're gonna talk about other things.
Other things. Just let that sink in, guys.
From the bottom of my heart. Fuck Joss Whedon. He should never be allowed anywhere near women, near scripts, near children, near teenagers.
Yeah.
The amount of overt sexism and misogyny that is portrayed in this show, in its treatment of its female characters, is so appalling. Lorelle made fun of me because I only got halfway through the episode because I started watching it and had to turn it off because I got mad. And that was even before we got to Inara.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, at least you made it probably to the naked teenager part, probably. Oh, you didn't get that far either. Oh my.
Nope.
And I just want to point this out, guys. Like, oh, she had to be naked. She was in a suspension pod. It's sci-fi. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, this is the same vibe as George Lucas going, there's no bras in space, Carrie. There's no bras in space, Carrie. Take your bra off, Carrie. It's sci-fi, George.
Respectfully up yours.
Respectfully?
What is it with, like, if you had to have a naked character in the show, and I'd prefer you didn't have any naked characters.
Preferably none.
I prefer 0, but that's my preferred number. That's just me.
I'm a crisp, 5.
Just 5. But there's still 5 characters you could choose who weren't teenagers.
Teenagers.
Yeah. Like, if you felt you needed that for the sex appeal of the show, which I understand Hollywood thinks adds something, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever, Hollywood, you're the expert.
Yeah.
But you could have literally chosen any other character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where were the adults to be like, no, Joss, we're not going to have a naked teenager.
There was no adults, clearly, because Joss Whedon writes like a teenage boy fresh out of puberty. It's an absolute waking nightmare in the way he writes about his female characters. Yeah. Going back to Avengers, I have to talk about his other work briefly before I also dissect this one.
Yeah.
But the fact
dissect away, baby.
He was so proud that in that interrogation scene between Loki and Black Widow, they snuck in the phrase "Mulinquim," which is like Shakespearean for basically like a much worse terminology that we do not use about women. Mm-hmm. And he was like, he's like, I can't believe they let me sneak that in.
Good
but
you,
that
buddy.
was something that he thought was important. Mm-hmm. He was like, this is important. This is important that he calls her this.
Yeah, and will you also notice that in that movie, Black Widow, the only female on the planet apparently, her only job is to use her sexiness. Like,
yes.
to fight. Okay. All right. Good job.
Okay.
Good job, woman.
And
You're doing a great job. Let's give you a little pat on the head.
Let's not forget in Age of Ultron how because she's been scooped clean and has no uterus.
Gosh.
She's a
Every
monster.
time.
Nobody could ever love me because I can't bear children.
Stop it. I'm a monster equal to that of one who has rampaged cities and killed people. Because I cannot have children. Literally every time a writer writes in the whole barren plot storyline, I'm like,
room is barren.
I am like, you just threw that in there because you thought this was the most traumatic experience a woman could have. Like, you thought there was no greater, like, horror for a woman than to have her sole purpose in life stripped from her.
Yes.
I'm like, if a woman is writing a story about someone who can't have kids and like wants to, I'll watch that story. But the next time a man writes about a woman being barren and how horrible it is for her,
we find him.
I'm gonna find him
and we're gonna put shit in his mailbox. Need I repeat myself? If you write about a barren woman, we will put in your mailbox.
I was gonna chop off his hands with his keyboard, but that was so either one of those, we'll just see where the moment takes
either
us.
One of those are good.
Either one.
But anyway, so just getting back to
getting back to Joss's
really work in Firefly. So again, Kaylee, the most pure, lighthearted character. She
embodies the mother.
Yeah. So then why was the single scene of her eating the strawberry so dang fetishy that
I forgot about that.
Felt like I needed to look away from the screen?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I don't know if anybody else has ever eaten a strawberry, but typically I don't close my eyes and moan when I eat a strawberry. I don't care how good it is.
But Maya, it's space.
Oh, you're right.
People
moan.
I'm sorry. Women moan.
Women moan in space a lot, especially when they eat fruit.
Up the rating on this episode. No, it's gross. It's really gross.
Strawberry. I was like,
also,
this is your most innocent character, and you're still sexualizing her this way. And you are using the other male characters in your story to say the things that you want to say.
Yeah, it's true.
Especially with Jane making the comment, like she's like, wow, I think it's so impressive that you're a doctor. Like, just being nice, being friendly. Maybe she's flirting a little bit. Like, Kaylee is a girl and she likes a cute boy. There's nothing wrong with that. And Jane goes, bet Kaylee wishes he was a gynecologist. And I was like, who says that? Who says that? Yeah. Do I finish my rant by talking about the plot line that never was able to be because there was no season 2?
Gosh. I don't know if I have enough disgust left in for me for how much that deserves. 'Cause that's up to you, girl. See if you have that in you.
I think it's important for people to know. I do indeed.
To understand the depths of Maya's
absolute disdain
for Joss Whedon, it's not unfounded.
Yes. And for the statement that I'm going to make at the end of this before we close out the podcast, I feel like I need to say this.
Y'all need to be informed.
Y'all need to be informed. So I don't know if you remember, I'm not sure if it's the first or second episode, but there is a part where Inara reveals that she has a syringe. So there's this scene of her looking at, like, this syringe, like, really secretively. And we all kind of assume, if worse comes to worse, if the Reavers would attack their ship, this is her last resort, is, you know, like the Nightlock in Hunger Games. It's a suicide capsule in a syringe, basically. Mm-hmm. In an interview, another writer on the show said that, oh yes, the purpose of the syringe was that it would murder anybody who tried to violate the person who had injected the syringe into themselves. Meaning they would only die after the other person had already been brutalized. So basically, they had a plot line in season 2 where Inara was captured by Reavers. They spend the whole episode trying to find her. They arrive on the ship. Basically, Mal is the only one on the ship. They go and they find Inara surrounded by dead Reavers. And the implications of what was meant to happen in that scene is very clear. Mm-hmm. And the other writer said in this interview, that was really the goal of making this show, was to showcase really dark plot lines like that. And to go places like that with the story. From the bottom of my heart, thank God this show was canceled.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Pour one out for Inara's actress. Because, like, she was doing her best.
Yeah.
But, like...
What do you do?
Her character literally had one
purpose.
One purpose.
Was to be the character that was saved.
Was to be the character who...
was not only punished for her sexuality, but then was saved by the man who constantly it's
denigrated her.
It's Joss Whedon's version of the story Redeeming Love, which is based on the one story in the Bible about the man who marries a prostitute, essentially.
No. Don't even bring Redeeming Love into this. This is a whole other thing.
It's a whole other thing, but basically that's what we're dealing with here.
I don't know. All that aside, I do think Joss Whedon is a good writer. I just think he's a really sexist, creepy, gross, good writer.
Yes. And I am of the opinion that if that is part of your writing, then you're not a good writer. Fair enough. In the same vein of, like, stand-up comedians who have to resort to shock humor instead of actually writing good jokes.
Yeah, but see, here's the difference for me, because I don't enjoy that kind of humor. I do enjoy Firefly. Just the parts that are palatable.
Yes.
I don't know, man.
Honestly, I agree with you. I think that there's such a beauty to the show, and it kills me.
Well, he wasn't the only one who worked on it, so let's give props to everyone else.
Everyone apart from Joss.
Yeah.
I say all this because I need to be like, okay, this is a problem. Mm-hmm. That does not mean that nobody should sit down and enjoy Firefly. It is a incredibly well-made show. There are interesting characters.
It was very influential.
It is a beautiful work of world building.
Beautiful and very influential to modern science fiction television.
Yeah.
And pretty much anyone writing sci-fi for TV nowadays probably loved Firefly, grew up loving Firefly.
100%. And this is one of those cases where, like, this is something I struggle with, but death of the author for this one. Mm-hmm. We have to talk about this one author and his death that we will.
If only he was doing all of his reprehensible stuff outside of his fiction, but unfortunately it's in there as well.
Intertwined.
Like, in the way he treats his female characters, the way the other characters speak to them, the way that these women react to the way that they're spoken to is not very realistic either.
Yep.
And it's pretty clear that Joss Whedon is one of those writers who struggles to believe that women have complex inner lives. You know? Mm-hmm. I think that was probably pretty obvious subtext from the entire episode so far, but... But believe it or not, guys, if you didn't know this, women are also people. Just so you know.
Just so you know, yeah. Crazy, I know.
Crazy. We're literally, I hope this doesn't blow your mind, but we're not here just to mother and be sexy. Like, those are not our only two objectives.
That's what all my exes thought.
Wow! And even better if you can do them both at the same time. But anyway, death of the author. You wanted to talk about death of the author.
I just want to encourage people, because I don't want to go through watching all these shows and saying, I don't think you should enjoy this because it has this in it. Because I don't think that's what it's about. I think it's about holding the two things of Joss Whedon's writing is gross, creepy, and sexist, and Firefly is a well-made and enjoyable show for some people who are not Maya.
Yeah.
Who don't have intense anger issues.
Fair enough. All right, any last thoughts? I think we've really gone off topic.
A little bit.
What do we rate Other? Maya?
0. Other is 0. For all that content. All the other nice points I gave it.
I had included music in Other, so I had originally written 25, and then I scribbled it out and wrote -5 points for extreme grossness, and I had written 20. Then I had scribbled 20 out, and I wrote -5 points for naked teenagers, and then I wrote 15. So I did give Other 15, because I included the music in Other, but I also don't think that the music really outweighs the naked teenagers, so it should probably be a much lower rating.
Well, honestly, like, even with, like, the lowest rating of, like, me copying your 12.5, we're hitting about a 60, so it passes as a pilot.
Well, even with the bad stuff, it does pass as a pilot, because it does, it
perfectly sets everything
up. It sets everything up. It sets up the storylines, it sets up the characters, it sets up the world, and it sets up the tone of the rest of the show. So whether that tone is one you like or not, it does faithfully deliver on that.
100%.
So, yeah, it works. It does succeed as a pilot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I just wanted to share this, like, one little quote, now that I folded my paper up, that this is a scene between Mao and his, what's her name? Hang on. Zoe.
Uh-huh.
So this is a scene between Mao and Zoe. They're, like, old war buddies, and they've gone to go negotiate with a dangerous woman. She's basically a warlord on this planet.
Yeah.
And Zoe says, she's got the advantage over us. And Mal says, everyone always does. That's what makes us special. And I thought that was a really cool line, and I thought it summed up the thesis of the team really well, like the Firefly team. Yeah. So after we've gone and bashed all the stuff on the show, I did want to, like, say that it does honestly have its gems.
That's Firefly.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Firefly. That line itself really represents Firefly as a show.
Really well. So, yeah, I just really like that line.
Honestly, for all of my hatred, I really think I could sit down and watch through more of it.
If we could just have,
for
like,
all that I said.
Yeah. No, if we could just have, like, someone go ahead and edit out all the nasty stuff.
Yeah.
And make Mao actually slightly palatable as a main character.
Yeah.
Like, cut out all of his nasty lines. In fact, I'm sorry that I'm gonna say this, but maybe just cut Inara out entirely. The whole romance between them is so
gross,
unconscionable. Like,
yep.
Yeah. And she doesn't offer anything else to the plot. So if you cut out the romance, you cut out Inara.
Yep.
So if we just cut her out of the show, I think that actually solves most of its problems. And we cut out the scene with any scene with naked teenagers, we cut those out too.
Yep, absolutely. Honestly, someone should just go through and edit.
And if someone did that, then Maya and I will watch the show. Once that edit drops.
We'll watch the whole thing. We'll love
watch
it.
The whole thing.
Just unweeden it for us.
Unweeden it. Oh, man.
Well, I think that about wraps it up.
Yeah, I think so.
Just to conclude, it passes. Firefly
it passes.
And that is one of the few times you will probably hear us say this on the show. Yeah. But our grading system is different this season. And it's already annoying me. I can't wait to destroy it and start over next season.
Well, we could have, like, a mid-season. This could be our mid-season finale.
Yeah.
No one said we can't have 3 episodes and then a finale and then
just a reminder,
7 more episodes.
Lorelle and I, we do what we want.
We do what we want!
We do what we want. You can't tell us what to do.
We do what we want!
Nobody's listening anyway, except from hell. Anyway, thank you, our 2 hellish listeners. I hope that everyone takes some time to think about the things we've talked about, and also hopefully you'll still be able to enjoy Firefly after this, but
if you don't, we're not sorry.
Yeah, we're not really sorry. Anyway, Love y'all. Keep it feral.
Oh, keep it feral. Keep it feral. Sorry. Give me the cue again.